Finance and Administration Committee meeting. Cindy Rickards is not able to chair, is not able to be with us tonight, so I am chairing the meeting and I will call it to order. Ira Winston is, the other member of the committee is here as well. So the first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the April 2023 meeting. That's the last time this committee met. Any comments, Ira?
So good by me.
Okay, all right. All in favor of approving the minutes? Thank you. They're approved. Well, manager, would you like to make a report, or will you be doing that at council meeting tonight?
I'll be doing that brief report of council.
Okay. And the borough treasurer report, I would assume is the same.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, and Ira, I'll put some minutes together for this.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Okay. The next item on the agenda would be public comment. There's one person in the room, and I don't think
She's on the agenda.
she's on the agenda, so I don't think they're ready to make want to make a public comment. And I don't think there's anybody joining us by Zoom.
Nope, no one in the waiting room.
All right, so no public comment. The next item is action items for Borough Council. The first two items, scheduled bills and meeting minutes. Ira, do you have any comments or questions for the manager on those?
No.
I don't either, so those can just be taken up at the business meeting. The next item is a request from the borough manager to consider some changes in the borough office staffing. Manager Camilleri, would you like to walk us through that request?
I was actually wondering if maybe it would be better if we moved Emily up to that's like for get her out of the way first.
Sure.
Get out of the way.
No, well, I think you want to sit through all that.
Well, that's-
I do not mind, you guys.
Okay.
My husband's putting my kids to bed right now, so
Yeah.
it's all good.
Just trying to be respectfully
Whatever you prefer is
Yeah.
fine with me.
Yeah, so Emily, if you'd like to go next, that's fine. So I know you have a proposal for us, and that we're curious and would like to hear about it, so.
Yes, so I did send some documents to Cindy Rickards. I don't know if she was able to pass those along to you guys at all.
And,
Had any
I haven't
opportunity
seen
to review
it,
them?
no.
If not, I'll make sure that you will all get them, as well as folks that aren't here tonight. I basically the short story is that I am bringing to Borough Council the concept of a part-time public arts visual art manager coordinator for the borough, and that would be something that is new and something that has never had funding before. So I'm looking into what that would look like. The history of this is that I am a community member. I've been living, I actually live technically right outside the borough. I want to be totally honest with that. I'm not a resident of the borough, but I'm a near. And I've been living here for 12 years. I have family here, bought a home. I'm never leaving. I love it so much. I did not grow up here, but I do really feel like this is my home. I have a background in arts. I have a studio arts degree, Bachelor of Fine Arts in Studio Arts, and then I have a business degree from Carnegie Mellon in Arts Management. When I came here, I had little kids, and I'm just now coming to the point where I'm trying to sort of get my career going again. So this is a perfect opportunity for me to bring my skill set to this community. What I started to see in the community over the last 3 or 4 years is opportunities for art and creative people to contribute to the community through the temporary placement of art in vacant spaces. So for example, right now we have a lot of vacant storefronts downtown. I started working with building owners, specifically Tim Rude, but there are also some other building owners that are involved as well, and talking about, hey, look, if we had art every time we have a vacancy, rather than just an empty window, if we had some temporary art display, as people are interacting with our town and coming through shopping, this would sort of be an attraction of its own. If it's rotating, if it evolves and it's changing, that's the temporary aspect of public art. Then there would always be something to see in our work, and sort of seeing it as sort of a driving business to the area I got involved with NARBART, which is a monthly festival where all the businesses are invited to participate in window displays around a common theme. Beth Warren created, built, and ran that for 10 years, and then was ready to be done and passed the baton. I raised my hand, so I was involved in that. And I just sort of started seeing opportunities for arts, to be visual arts, to become part of our community and to really coordinate that. I think when people think public art, they think of mural on a surface or a bronze sculpture to some important historic figure. I think those are wonderful things. But I'm really thinking about thinking outside the box here and looking at how the arts, especially contemporary public visual art, can contribute to the things that the borough is trying to do already. So the things that are in that strategic plan, the 2040 strategic plan, have to do with community engagement, increasing sustainability, driving foot traffic into the business area, creating home, space making, creating home public spaces where people want to gather. And all of that is really laced into how we create this community from a functional and visual aspect. The redesign of Station Circle, updates to Sabine Park in that space, updates to the playground in this area, how traffic flows, traffic calming aspects, how we design our street corners and curbs and crosswalks such that we calm traffic. There's so many beautiful ways that artists can be involved in these things that are already happening. And so after having kind of done a lot of work for free volunteering in the community and starting to see opportunities for this, I thought, how can we make this sustainable? Beth ran NARBART for 10 years as a volunteer. She poured her heart into that. It's not sustainable when it's just volunteer-based. And I've been doing lots and lots of work for free, and I'm happy to do that. But I'd love to see this kind of become more of a long-term, dedicated investment by the community to really sort of see something happen. The things that I and sort of a group of artists, volunteers have done recently include, besides NARBART, we are also looking now at big vacant windows that are American Family Market and all the way down that strip. Before those buildings become whatever they become next, we don't want to have that vacancy sort of sit there empty, so I'm working with local artists to fill the spaces and just have it be pleasing to pedestrians and residents as they come by. Spots. Place for Paws just celebrated 20 years, so we did a call out to the community, collected a bunch of dog and cat photos, and they have this beautiful window collage that's a celebration of this that's been here for 20 years. There's also a Greek market coming in this summer, so they have a big kind of hand-painted mural, something I worked with them on. These are just a few examples. I just wanted to see if the committee would consider this as something that we might want to invest in. I think starting as a very small little small bucket per time, but looking at how someone like myself might be able to come in and really just support what's going on already. Jumping into being a part of these other initiatives and task forces and committees, and just sort of supporting them as well as creating things that might really help to sort of engage the public in our community. So I just wanted to ask you to I will make sure everyone gets this document if you haven't had it already. It's just a very quick one-page thing.
You just got it.
Awesome, you have it now.
Hold on a second, sorry.
Sure.
Are you here for Borough Council or
Yeah.
Finance and Administration?
Borough Council.
So this is just a committee meeting.
Okay.
Borough Council's
Welcome to come.
Borough Council's at 7:30.
Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you.
So yes, that's my pitch. I love this community. I'm looking for ways to sort of bring my skill set and really help and benefit. And this is a need I see. I think there's tons of things that I haven't thought of, and so it's wide open. One of the things when I tell my kids, and I go to schools and I talk as an artist, I tell them, if you think about what an artist does, and name one industry, one organization, one group that doesn't benefit from creative, innovative, out-of-the-box thinking. And there's nothing. So artists belong everywhere. And creative thinkers belong in all places. And I think that our town would really benefit from that. Any questions or feedback?
So I just have
Sure.
a suggestion, because I'd love to support your efforts, but I wonder if there are any opportunities to get, another entity to also contribute
Absolutely,
besides the borough. I mean,
absolutely,
like say Tim Rubin, but that's just one example.
absolutely.
But there may be other folks who are willing to contribute. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but kind of in the parking lot, like near the bridge, there's a mural that
Absolutely.
a young man picked it on the road. That was done partially with borough money, partially with a donation.
Absolutely.
So I just think it might, let me say it this way, it would be hard for us to say no if you also, came in, was a donor. Now, it's a little bit tricky, right, because you're asking for something, it's an ongoing, but like, you can start with 1 year.
Right.
So,
Absolutely, and part of that is, I do have experience in fundraising, part of that is listed here, as like looking for businesses, local businesses to invest, other organizations, we've done partnerships. I know in the past, we've had partnerships with Museum of Fine Art. I think the Philadelphia Museum of Art did temporary, installation. So I think case by case, project by project, or as an ongoing funding stream, there's lots of opportunities for that.
right, I'm just saying it would strengthen your proposal if when we took this
Yes.
to council, which won't be tonight, took this.
Understandable. I hear you saying, I appreciate that. I'll follow up with you. I have some ideas now.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't have any particular ideas. I just know that sort of thing, especially in an area like this where it's potentially a cause that's, either in someone's interest or dear to their heart, they might be willing to. And you're not talking about like a huge amount of money either.
Thank you.
We're not going to have the Barnes collection and the tour.
Wouldn't that be great? Thank you very much.
Yeah, I was going to offer the same thought because I was thinking about what the art museum did years ago, and I was like, I don't remember that the borough even, I don't know that the borough may just have supported them, putting them in the spaces in public parks or whatever, but I don't know whether the borough even made a monetary, so like there's got to be other things like that are available, but I can see the benefit to having someone whose job it is to find those things that maybe don't cost a lot of outlay of borough tax dollars, but do get great benefits. I mean, I appreciate the awareness of what it means to have empty glass staring at you in the business district, and so there's a way we can support not having that. I think we should. I also think it's beneficial to the businesses too, so that's like I was pointing, and see what, how they might support that. So, Senator Hillary, do you have any questions or thoughts for Emily?
I'd just be curious if there was any statutory limitations on the types of positions that we can create. There may not be, but that's something we have to look into. My original vision for this type of work was that it was something that I thought would be more appropriate to contract, though I understand as an individual having the insurance and the other things can be challenging. I don't see any issue with looking into it further. I really don't. I just think we need to do a little bit of research and see what options there are. And maybe there's an opportunity to partner. Maybe Laura Marion wants to get in on something. I don't know. Who knows?
Did something like this before with the photos, right?
Yeah. Well, but that was just with the one.
Or we were just paying for his material, we didn't pay for his time.
I don't think so, that's what I was trying to remember, did we end up paying for?
I think we paid.
time?
I thought it was the material.
It was the material, sure.
Yeah, it might just be the material.
That's Scott Lewis.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, Scott Lewis is.
Yes, I was blanking on his name.
but it was just, we didn't pay him, we just
Yeah.
paid for the
Helped
material.
pay for materials.
I think the,
And that's a specific, program that was fine, I think, so.
No, I'm just trying to look for a precedent.
Absolutely.
right,
Yeah.
exactly.
We do have a line item in the budget called downtown streetscape maintenance, and in the notes section, it says public art is one of the things that covers. So like this year, we put out $5,000, we budgeted $5,000 for plantings, trash cans, and public art. So perhaps when we're going through the budget, we can look at maybe increasing that line item for initiatives that she wants to work on, or,
Yeah,
yeah, that might work.
and, you know, I'm thinking of this too, how might this relate to, the Narberth Business Association and what they're doing and, you know, and what they do for the borough, because we have a relationship with.
I was wondering what their dues cover.
I have a clarifying
I'm
question.
not sure.
What, you said you were looking for part-time status, or how many hours a week would you be envisioning this would be?
I am very flexible. I had estimated this to be 10 hours a week.
By the way, we do have your proposal. I did forward it to the group here, so I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, no, it's, you know,
Oh.
I started working.
I see.
I started doing this work in the community and then realized.
Sorry, I didn't know.
It's okay, no problem. I started doing this work in the community, realized it was filling my soul, realized that it was filling a need, and then kind of came to Cindy and Jean and Jim and some other folks that I know, and I said, look, how do we make this sustainable? So that's where I'm at. I'm very flexible. My proposal is just one beginning offer, and I really am very open to suggestions and cooperation, and however you all see that this makes the most sense, we'll work together and involve the partners. It's great. I'm open to suggestions. So don't see anything I've written down as finite or
Sure.
definite. It's very flexible.
Well, I think you're really timely in coming to us now, because the budget process for 2024 will start soon, so it's a good time for us to be thinking about what do we want to invest in 2024.
Well, so that's like the ultimate answer is like, think about like, if you can arrange like some kind of matching funding that now you understand the timing.
Yeah, I've already got some ideas since you brought that up.
But look, I mean, you know, it's not, it's something that could potentially attract other money.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're not looking to line your pockets.
No, I've been doing this all for free so far. I've been inside Dave's and McShay's and Taco Takeaway, cleaning the windows myself. My mom volunteers.
We've seen you there.
We are just trying to find a way to make this sustainable. If it's not me, you know, if I all of a sudden am busy with my family, that this is something the community can invest in. And I would love to be able to sort of build this into where I come. I feel like the timing of this is really painful. Our community is going through growing pains right now. There's a lot of change. It is tough, but it's also an opportunity to reinvent ourselves, to have this conversation about identity and space and placemaking and how we present our community spirit to ourselves and to the public and attract new visitors. And it all really does have to do with having that kind of conversation. I think art can really be the point where we come together despite those differences. We set aside politics, we set aside religion and these things, and we come together and we realize we all have a lot of time. And that's where I see my role in this community and what I can give this community with. That's my skill set. And I want that to be useful for everyone.
Anybody else have any other thoughts or questions? Emily, thank you so much for bringing this to us.
It's my pleasure.
I think I know it's something that we have considered, for sure. I can't wait to see what you put in the empty spaces.
I'm working with Tim right now, we got stuff going
I
on.
love seeing what goes in. So
I'm also
thank you so
happy,
much.
I know that this August is a bit of an off month, I'm happy to come back again and do another, you know, section of time.
My guess is you might be coming back to talk to council as well.
Happy to do that, yeah.
Great.
Thank you for your time, I really
You're
appreciate it.
welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
What's that?
You guys will be on the next thing?
Yeah.
And you won't be offended if I walk out the door?
No,
I think that's why Alan,
I would try to.
I appreciate you.
With the presenters, I try to get them to go first, because you
Thank
never know what,
you.
that's all it's gonna take.
Yes,
so.
and thank you, Alan. I usually think of that, but.
This is considerate, very considerate. I was planning on
It's warm.
staying for the whole thing, but
Yeah, really?
I do appreciate that time. Thank you.
Nice meeting you.
Take care, you all. Nice to meet you all.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, So-
So to the
we
positions.
go back to 5.3, staffing.
In your meeting packets this evening, I prepared I hope with a brief, but hopefully informative enough memo, kind of go over what staffing layout I've envisioned and talked over here with Alan, and the potential financial impacts of making that staffing change. Right now, I think it is, though not the perfect timing, we not looking forward to the fact that our office manager is moving on to another role. But since she is now moving on, and this is the time for us to evaluate how we wish to staff our office. Right now, after Missy is done next week, it's just going to be Ellen and I in the office. But there is still a considerable amount of workflow that we deal with regularly each day, whether it's permits and processing of different things. And so as we evaluated options, I went through the budget to take a look at what we could do, but I'd like to start with just kind of explaining the two positions briefly. I know you all have the job descriptions included. The first, which would be at a little higher compensation level, would be the bookkeeper administrative assistant. This position would be focused on carrying out financial processes, customer service, and providing administrative support for me and possibly Ellen as well, and would take the lead in helping with meeting packet preparation, those sorts of things. The other position would be more oriented towards the records side of what we do in the office. And there is a considerable amount of records work to be done, even though the amount of progress we have made is still pretty significant. There remains a lot of things, even in our digital archive, that isn't searchable, that isn't indexed appropriately to find anything. And this will take us a few years to get sorted. So this position will be greatly focused on that large project, but also do much of the customer service face time. Now, originally I envisioned that the records clerk position would be the one that would also provide that customer support for the police department, but in hindsight, I don't know why it wouldn't make sense to have both do that. As you may be aware, we frequently get calls for the police department, and, you know, there's hesitancy to leave messages, to call 911, and even though we may have an officer on duty who might have been able to take that call, with no one really there to direct it. And we also get people who come in, you know, and wish to come into the police department and speak to an officer, and, you know, the officers are out on patrol. what we wanted to do was, basically help coordinate that for the police department, help them make the connection back to an officer to get the service response, that we see that's not always being fulfilled. I know there was a lot of speculation, because there had been talk in the previous budget about putting in an office assistant for the police department. That was not in this year's budget. It's not in there. There is in this year's police budget, though I've not verified to what hourly capacity. There was the addition of a parking meter attendant part-time.
Yes.
But I still don't know exactly how many hours were allocated, so I'm still working on some math on that to figure that out. So going over the financial impacts of this decision, right now, the budget is estimated to be about $75,000. So our total expenses are expected to be about $75,000 under budget in terms of our wage expenses. And a lot of this is due to the transition in my office prior to my arrival. So doing the math, adding both positions, what we're looking at is somewhere between 23 to about $42,000, depending on what the final pay rates and health insurance costs will end up being for the individuals if they're hired and selected. Yes, the top end figure is high, and even more so going into my estimates for 2024, but I'd rather give you the extreme of what it could be at the high end and underquote you what the cost will be. It is very likely that number could be lower for 2024. Single coverage is considerably less expensive for the borough and would bring that cost down for 2024 fairly significant. But I didn't want to give you a number that I didn't think was going to reflect that change. So it really is somewhere around 80,000 to less than that in terms of the difference. One of the positions, the pay range recommended, is very similar, at least on the low end, to the current office manager position. That's the bookkeeper administrative assistant. The other position is in that 51, 57,000 a year range. Are there any questions about the estimates, any financial figures?
Yeah, I have several questions.
Sure.
So, the first thing just to point out to you, I don't know if you factor it in, is that using the money from the part-time parking controller, if we decide to do that.
Actually, we're looking into doing that. So that wasn't part of this recommendation. And the reason for it is that we'd like to actually bring in some possible weekend coverage on parking attendant right now, and obviously we don't have that.
That was part of the reason we wanted a part-time.
This is why I didn't even bring up that idea, if that's the direction you guys want to go.
No, that's not what I was getting at.
No, absolutely we want to do it. I just don't know exactly what the police department's budget capacity is for this year, because I don't have an actual estimated breakdown of costs by employee, which I'm building to try to understand what the capacity is.
Well, so just the only point I wanted to make about the parking controller is that if you hire a part-time parking controller, the money gets recovered from the parking tickets they issue.
Yes, what are,
It's not a full recovery.
Yeah,
but
no,
it's also not zero.
I don't disagree that you're not going to see revenue from this, but, you know, it certainly will improve our ability to turn around and assist customers more time.
No, I'm really not talking about that. I'm
Yeah.
just focused on,
Yeah,
when you present the numbers about the cost of the parking controller to
oh,
make
you'd
sure.
like to see the revenues?
Well, just, it doesn't have to be like a higher mathematics. You can just say that we expect like half or a third or something like that of the cost of that position to get recovered.
So I'll look into that. I'm not sure I'm sure I can come up with some sort of estimated cost recovery.
It wasn't like a deep thought.
And I'll look back to, because we've had this conversation before on council, we had it on the ad hoc parking committee. I'll look back and see what Samantha might have provided us. I know we talked about how it was valued in having the part-time person and that it would have an impact on revenue, so.
It is in my notes, but I'll make sure I get something to you.
And then,
for that.
you know, in terms of, I just think we need to be careful, and I think we will be careful about, you know, making sure to distinguish between, you know, the impact this year and, you know, as we go forward. I mean, I guess the point of talking about this year is that maybe we could act, even though it's not budgeted, we could potentially act more quickly because we had some staff shortages both in the police, and in the, you know, in the office this year that potentially, could help offset some of the costs for the remainder of this year because it's not a budget expense.
Correct, there is, as I have in my memo, my estimates is that our budget is about, at least for the administration department, I didn't have the opportunity to finish my estimates for police because it's still, there's a lot more numbers there to calculate, but there was 75,000 approximately in budget line item. But it is health insurance that will certainly be the cost that will hit us on this, and that's the most significant investment beyond the wage. So I did want to make sure you had the full picture.
The other thing, just that you'll discover as you know, get into the understanding the police budget is that unlike in the office staff, where if we're short-staffed, it's a true savings. In the police, potentially we're calling on Lower Merion more, and it's not a true savings.
Well, you're correct that there is a scheduling system in place that doesn't operate the same as the office.
Right.
That's true. I should say also, and I don't know if I mentioned this, but both of these positions will be at FSLA, Fair Labor Standards Act, non-exempt, meaning hourly positions limited to 40 hours a week.
Right. It's fine. Everything. That's it, I'm done.
That's it, okay. I wanted to just clarify something, and so the health benefits and health insurance costs, that's, you're assuming family coverage, you're doing the worst case.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, that's what I thought, but I was like, I sure hope so, because I was hoping that wasn't the most perceived.
Now, actually, you can expect, if it was single coverage, at least under our plan this year, it's going to be under 10,000
That's
per employee, but we just don't know
right.
what that would.
I know, oh, I know you don't. So I think what you're, you know, from the numbers here, you're telling us that if we wanted to have these people come on board in 2023, is not going to have a detrimental impact on our budget because, for 2023, because we have room in there for this because of
Yes.
some of the statutes. So I think to me, the crux of this really is, do we want to have these two positions going forward instead of the one office manager position? And I have any number of times said, I don't see how we get all the work done the council would like our administration to get done with only 3 people in the office. I never felt that was the right number. I've said many times, even if you just need a 4th person for a couple of years, we should look into that. And so I really commend you both for bringing this forward, because I think we really do need to have this conversation as a council. I just think your point about how there's still a lot to be cleaned up, the desire to be able to provide better customer service to people who are coming into the police department, better customer service to people who are coming into the office, to me, it makes it totally reasonable to say we should have the 2 positions instead of 1.
I should add, that at my hourly rate, it's probably better putting my skills to use at the higher order stuff that we need done. We have half dozen grants that need administration. We have staff that can require some level of management, and that's not just in the administration office. As I'm aware, my time will be needed in other places. So having that flexibility is very important. Also, I've been hoping that I wouldn't have to avoid being working late evenings. So far, I've had to do it a few times, and I don't mind it, knowing the transition that we have, but I really would prefer to have that work-life balance I was looking for when I sought this position out. And I still believe it's possible here, and, we'll figure out a way to make it work. But I do think that the quality of the work suffers when we can't put the attention that it needs. And frequently, the interruptions are not helping.
No, and your point is well taken, that, your time is better spent on the more strategic things, but so is Alan's time. So
That is
that's,
also
I mean,
true.
so to me, this is really about getting the right people doing the right tasks. And so I think, we'll see what the rest of council thinks, but my feeling is this is something that's needed, and we just need to make sure that everyone is comfortable with that, knowing that what that's going to mean to the budget, which is, an additional person, although we had thought we were going to have an additional half at least with this temporary bookkeeper that never came about. So I think we need to like.
And the position that was budgeted to help with the police last year.
Well, but I don't think it's in the
No, it's not, but the point, I get.
I know, we agreed to it.
The point that I'm trying to make here is that I don't think you're gonna run into a lot of opposition.
Yeah.
This is my personal
Yeah.
comment to you, is I don't think you're gonna run into a lot of opposition to this, because it's important to do it. So just,
To me, it's
the timing is such that we have an opportunity to do this now.
I have a couple of thoughts too. I mean, just operating with a staff of 3, I've been doing it for 7 years now, and it's tough. It's not really stable.
I
When
know.
one person goes,
Yeah.
it really takes a toll on the rest of the staff, and everybody is basically just struggling to tread water. So by having that 4th person, it would make a huge difference. And also, the council wants to invest in new programs or new initiatives that are going to require more staff time, like a rental inspection program, a sidewalk inspection program. So we can offer more services and work on more projects, you know, if we have that fourth person. And also, we can save in consultant fees if we have more people, because Ken and I can devote more time to like, maybe more grant applications or projects that we typically hand off to design consultants. So you'd be saving money there as well, so there's just lots of good things that happen.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna, I don't think you're gonna run into, you know, like a brick wall here, so.
Okay.
Just like, you know, like give it a chance, to play out, you know, people.
Yeah.
I think both of you have really strong points in favor of this, so those are things that all of council needs to hear, so that they can say, oh, yeah, I have, you know, I know what I need to know to make this decision. I think the other thing too that I'm aware of is just, even if somebody is on vacation, when you have a staff of 3, that is really hard, or is out sick, you know, it's just, it's hard to then manage, and,
Well, just stepping out of the office when I'm the only one there, you know, close, right? The same goes for Alan, so it's
it's not,
it's not the ideal, so.
no, it isn't. Okay,
Okay, anything else?
is there anything else you want
I
to?
should note, and I thought I distributed an email to you all, but where is it? We just, the Narberth Green Initiative just got scheduled for its first meeting.
Oh, good.
Fungi?
Yeah.
Or, Fungi.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
We'll have to call it Fungi, our illustrious creator here has dubbed the names.
Yeah.
The first meeting date should be, oh, I have it here somewhere. I just got it. Or maybe they were just scheduling, I don't know. But I just saw an agenda. Come out. I thought I shared it with all of you, and so I'm sorry. I didn't get it up. I will distribute it to you later.
Super. I'm glad they're getting underway.
Is there any news on them getting their, like, whatever status so that people can make tax deductible remissions?
I don't know about that yet. I'm still trying to honestly figure out the budget for that. And whether or not we had actually allocated money to it. We
No,
have,
it's gonna be donations.
Yeah.
did we?
And we're paying for, you know, for.
Well, you're
the
paying
solicitor.
for my time as well.
And the solicitor.
Possibly Alan's.
Yeah, but the solicitor is like incremental cost.
Yes.
Yeah.
No,
Yours cost is like, okay, this is other thing you've been doing.
Right,
But-
yeah. Hopefully, they're not going to need that much of your or Alan's time.
no, but I would assume in this early part, we will probably help them with some bookkeeping or something until they get something.
I don't know that you'll have to do a whole lot of that because one of the
That's even
people,
better.
Rich Myers, who is volunteered to be the treasurer, has been the treasurer for a nonprofit already. Yeah, so I think it'll be a lot, less than.
Or we can ask John.
Yeah,
Did the fungi get its status yet?
tax status. It can.
So the federal tax status isn't gonna be for
Months.
months.
That's what I was gonna say. I think Ira is expecting much faster than what the IRS will do.
And a lot of it depends on, for example, when Bob sent an email
Right.
saying, let's meet this together. But there needs to be something showing that they're actually doing
Right.
something to show the IRS, look, we're actually helping people.
So it's a chicken and the egg.
Should we adjourn the meeting? There's some work.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, okay.
Are we, that we kind of got, yes, all right, so, is there anything else that we, at least got an update on that? President of the Green Initiative, so that's great. I think that's it. All right, then, I will call the meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.